Hello and welcome to another Fourth Down Fiasco exclusive interview. Today, I am super excited because with me is one of the premier defensive backs in the European League of Football, a defending champion in this sacred league, the Templar Titan, the Santa Barbara Saint, the Grandview Virtuoso, the fancy Frenchman himself, Mr. Tony Anderson. How are you, brother?
Great. Thank you for the introduction. It's a cool one for sure. Thank you
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
we always got to make sure that we set our people up for success on these interviews.
I got you.
So, Tony, I'm just gonna ask the easy question right off the bat. Give us the backstory. Talk about your first introduction to football, how you fell in love with it, and how you ultimately, through college, through NFL tryouts, eventually made your way to the ELF.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm from France. We play soccer over here. That's the main sport. So, like a normal kid, I grew up playing soccer. Eventually, I got burned out, and I tried different sports. I don't know. I even tried archery, handball, whatever you want, right?
Oh, okay.
And then one day there was a game in my hometown, and I just stumbled across it with my dad, and we watched the game, and I was like, okay, that sounds like a cool sport. I kind of want to try it, and then I tried it, and I fell in love with it. So yeah, that's how it started. Took me a little bit to get actually good at it, but once I figured out that okay, I could actually be pretty good at this sport, I started looking into how I could go overseas and play at a high level. So I applied to Santa Barbara City College, and I walked on, made the team, played one season there, and then transferred to Grandview University, a small NAIA school in Iowa.
Des Moines,
Um,
right?
yes, correct. I played 2 seasons there, and then after that, I got picked up as an undrafted free agent by the Colts. They called me day two of the draft and invited me to their rookie mini camp. Um, and after that, I got picked up later on by the Los Angeles Rams. Didn't make the roster. Eventually got cut. After that was the COVID year, so there was a little bit of a gap. I participated into the CFL Combine, but they ended up canceling the whole season. So basically, everything was postponed 1 year. So 1 year later, I ended up being drafted by the Red Blacks. Played one season there, not on the active roster, so spent a year on the practice squad, and got released the following year. And that's when I came back to Europe. First with the Raiders Tyrol for a year, then Frankfurt Galaxy, and now upcoming second year with the Rhein Fire.
Yeah. Awesome. And you had mentioned in a previous interview, this was probably about a year or two ago, winning is the most important thing to you.
Yeah.
Being able to compete at whatever level that is, being able to compete for, a winning team and a winning program. So I'm going to go a little bit off script with this one, but just like kind of take us through what the Rhein Fire organization is like, how they prepare y'all to be the best that they can, because, we've said on this pod before that Rhein seems like they might be the best ran organization in the ELF.
So from my experience, I've been to 3 different teams. I can't really speak for the whole league, right? It's not like I've been to all 16 teams. But I feel like Rhein Fire might be the organization that could be the closest from what we could get from an NFL organization, if that makes sense. They try to, our schedule is like NFL based. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically they're trying to do what the NFL does, but they adapt it to the European way. Obviously, right? We have homegrowns and everything. You just can't treat everybody like they're an NFL player and expect them to behave like an NFL player. But what they do is they surround the players with NFL coaches, and they try to bring that experience to the homegrowns, to us, the imports. So, like I said, from the schedule, how things are ran, how our practices are ran, traveling, online meetings, in-person meetings, whatever. We have a player personnel guy. Like we have, there is a hierarchy in the staff. Like it's very structured and very professional. Tyrol was a little bit like this also on a smaller scale, obviously, because first of all, Tyrol is a much smaller city. But over there was also very organized, and they had their hierarchy and structure and everything. But Rhein Fire was more NFL based, if that makes sense. And Frankfurt was, I think, as an organization, they had to face the most challenges just because they had guys coming from literally everywhere. Like
Mhm.
guys were driving 2 hours to come to practice. Frankfurt is a huge city with an enormous amount of traffic. Uh, Guys would drive an hour 30 to make it to practice.
Mhm.
They would be in Frankfurt, right? They would live in Frankfurt. They would work in Frankfurt, but because to get to the practice field, it would take them more than an hour to get here. So we had to practice later, take all of these things into consideration. So in Frankfurt, there was the most challenges as an organization. They had to, you know, navigate their way and try to accommodate everyone the best they could, and that wasn't the easiest.
Gotcha. And
But Rhein Fire is like I said, the most organized in my opinion, and they're really trying to copy what they do at the highest level of football.
I like that. And you had mentioned just the NFL talent, on the coaching side of things.
Mhm.
Tom Sula obviously brings NFL experience. He's a fiery, passionate individual. What's
Yep.
it like playing under him, and how does his leadership kind of set the tone for the defense?
I mean, like you said, he has a great character, full of energy, and he's a leader of men. Those would be the words that would describe him the best. He knows how to lead, um, whether it's to motivate you, um, whether it's to discipline you in a sense. He keeps you grounded. We lost one game last year, and guess what? Every week was the same. It's just like we didn't do anything.
Mhm.
They won the championship in 23, and I came in 24, and it was a new team, and he made sure that we knew that it was a new team, and that wasn't the 23 team who won the championship. So he keeps you grounded, and he really makes sure that your feet are where they're supposed to be. But he does it in the right way. He's a great leader. He knows how to build up guys. He knows how to develop guys. The way he treats veterans compared to younger players, like you can tell he has experience in it. I think he also has degrees in psychology and everything. So he really
Okay.
knows how to address what needs to be addressed, and he knows how to do it. So great leader, man.
Awesome. I did not know that about the psychology thing. That's cool. And so you have Tom Sula. You also have Weidinger as your defensive coordinator. Describe his
Coach
system.
Kent.
Oh,
Coach Kent is our DC. Weininger Andrew is our OC, or was our OC. He's in Madrid now.
shoot, I flubbed that one. Thank you for
No
that.
problem.
Let's talk about Coach Kent then. How would
Mhm.
you describe his system and the way that he challenges y'all to elevate your game as a secondary, especially?
Coach Kent is the most knowledgeable coach I've ever been around when it comes to football in general.
Mhm.
Um, I'm pretty sure that he invented some of the coverages that are played in the CFL. Like he's
Mhm.
actually the guy who came up with it,
Oh,
with
that's
some of those coverages. Like he can talk about football for hours and hours and hours. I remember I had in 24, during the recruiting process, I had two interviews with him, and they were about 2 hours long, and there was
Mhm.
only supposed to be like 15, 20 minutes. And he can just talk football forever and ever. That's his passion. He dedicated his life to it, and he's by far the most knowledgeable coach I've ever been around. And no knock to all the others. It's just that Coach Kent's been at it for a long, long time, and that's just his life. He's live, breathe, eat football. He
yeah.
doesn't sleep. I would say sleep football, but he barely sleeps. We get
Fair enough.
we get notifications at 3 a.m. of whatever, some film has been uploaded, or he just made a
Yeah.
playlist about this opponent or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
You're
he's
getting those
awesome.
notifications at 3 a.m. You're like, Coach, go to bed, bro.
Yeah, it's he's that type of guy. But yeah,
Love it.
he's just insane. He's a genius.
Mhm.
And what I really like about him is that he's the perfect mix between the system and the players.
Mhm.
So some coaches, you get recruited to the team, they have a system, and you play the system because they believe in their system, which
Right.
there's nothing wrong with it. That's just one approach, right? And then there are coaches where It's more like, okay, I have these type of players, so I'm gonna run this.
Mm-hmm.
All coaches have a system that they like, but some coaches just prefer to really run what they want, what they want to run, depending on which type of player they have, right? So
Right.
that's a little bit what Coach Andrew was. Coach Andrew was really a matchup guy. Okay, I like that matchup. We have Glenn here. We have whatever. In 23, they had Mahungu, they had Robitaille, they had Willie P, they had
Mm-hmm.
Haaland, right? And Jadrian ended up throwing 50 touchdowns. Why? Because Andrew said, okay, we have the matchups that we like, so we're just going to do that. Year afterwards, he said, you know what? I really like what we got with the offensive line, and we have Glenn, and he's great. And, our box is better than their box. We're going to run the ball, and Glenn is going to score 30 touchdowns. And he did just that, right?
Right.
So Andrew is really a player type of guy. He sees the person that he has, and he tailors his offense towards it. Coach
Mm-hmm.
Kent is the perfect mix. Why? Because his system is so sound. It's incredible. He has an answer for every single offensive play you can imagine, but he's not making it up just for that specific play. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that in his system, there is an answer for everything. So that's crazy. It's like basically he has a dictionary, and depending on which player he has, he will allow you to, I don't know, use, I don't know, 50%, 80%, 30% of the dictionary, right? He
Mm-hmm.
told us earlier this season, it's like we have a lot of returners on the defensive side, right? So that will allow us to use even more tools that he put to our disposal. First year, I mean, they had Omari Williams, right? He's been here for 3 years now.
Right.
He's the head of the defense. He's Coach Kent on the field. Um, and then he's surrounded with guys, Till and Yannick, who's been there also. There's Kenzie, there's some more. The guys have been returning, so they were already really advanced in the system, and I had to catch up a little bit. And now I feel like this year it's even more, like we can do even more. We all know the basics. We've been to the intermediate level, and now he just keeps giving us tools to basically make the defense even better.
Right.
So that's just really awesome.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that y'all having the continuity that you're going to this
Yeah.
season is going. I mean, y'all were already, arguably, if not one, then two, as far as best defensive back room in all of the
Mhm.
ELF. So having y'all back just kind of adds that continuity. Um, so you mentioned kind of this, I guess, mix between a perfect system as well as also being able to make the adjustments based on the player and the versatility
Exactly.
that people
Yep.
add, right? So,
Yep.
you bring a lot of versatility to the secondary with your size and your skill set. Do you expect to be utilized differently this year now that there is that continuity? And what matchups are you most looking forward to?
Um, I think I will have a similar role to the one I had last year, but
Mhm.
I'll probably be able to do more things. Um, and also, I mean, Coach Kent takes into consideration. I mean, did we need to blitz last year? Not really. I mean, our pass rush was fierce. We just rush four
Mhm.
and we get to the quarterback. So if we don't need to blitz, why would I? Why would he send me on the blitz, right?
Mhm.
So depending on what would need, then probably be adjusting to that. Um, I played mainly nickelback last year, a couple of games at corner as well. So I feel like depending on the opponent, depending on what we need, then my role might differ a little bit, but I think it'll be pretty similar to last year.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think yeah, I mean, and that's only a guess, right? Like I said, Coach Kent might hit us with the crazy game plan. Also, we don't know. We'll never know. So,
Yeah.
but from what I can imagine, I think it'll be pretty similar depending on what we need.
Fair enough. And I mean, again, just with your size, your athleticism, you're so versatile. I hate to use the term Swiss Army knife with you being a Frenchman, but truly you are a Swiss Army knife out there on the field of just if they need you to stop the run, you stop the run. If you need to, break up some passes, you can do that. You've got some pretty decent hands on you. But so, you had mentioned a little bit about Amari and Till as well,
Mhm.
how does their leadership dynamic play out in the film room and on the field? Just because y'all are such a three-headed monster at at the DB position. Yeah, what is it like working with them? What is their leadership style like, etc.?
Um, it's very, very special in a sense that there is pressure. And that was a little bit that was reminiscing a little bit of the US, in the
Mhm.
sense that in the US, you're under pressure. Everybody's fighting for their jobs. You need to make plays. It's your job, right? And if
Mhm.
you're not producing, then you're going to get cut, and they're going to bring something new, somebody new. Then I came back to Europe and Tyrol and Frankfurt, and obviously, right, we all want to perform, we all want to win, but I didn't feel the same pressure in those two group of players. Then I came to Rhein Fire, and it was like, we are expecting you to produce. We are, and I'm not really talking about the coaches. It's just, it comes from the room.
It's
Like,
the culture, yeah.
exactly. It's like they have a culture of, look, you're an import here. You're coming in a really good DB room, and we're gonna expect you to produce. You're gonna be expected to just be really good. And I was like, okay, that's the culture here. That's how they do it, and it ends up just bringing the best out of you. And that's also, I mean, that's why we're just really good at Rhein Fire in general, is that there is a sense of pressure that it is professional football. Like, you are expected to do your job, and you are expected to make plays.
Mhm.
And Omari, Till, Yannick, all the guys, even Darius Nash that we brought back. Also, he only got to play 2 games before getting injured, but now he's back with us, and we're all on the same page, in the sense that every day, every practice, we push each other, and we expect more of each other. We're not very lenient. We're not hesitating to point out things like, hey, you did this wrong, or you blew that coverage. Let's make sure we get it right. Like, it's like almost like we don't need a coach.
Yeah.
Like, we're on each other's asses, if I can say it like that.
Oh yeah, no, you're allowed to cuss on this interview. You're good. No need to
And
filter.
yeah, so say it's we really push each other to get better, and I feel like this a huge reason why we've been successful in the past.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that I've kind of noticed that from some of the top teams in the ELF and some of the guys that we've talked to, that the culture amongst the players is definitely different. Of like, to your
Mhm.
point, like you were talking about, there is an expectation of you're
Yep.
going to show up, you're going to do your job, and if you're not whooping people's ass, then someone else is going to go above you, and we're going to let them do their thing. So, you had mentioned the pressure thing, so I'll go ahead and ask. Y'all are coming off of back-to-back championship wins. Is there a sense of pressure to three-peat, or is this more of just like you just take things day by day, like you continue to do?
Um, Personally, I don't feel like there is a. I don't feel like guys are focused on the three-peat, because we really have a new team.
Hmm.
Like, yes, the roster might look the same, and on defense, especially, we have a lot of returning guys. But on the offensive side, and on the D line, also the coaching staff, a lot has changed, and we are a new team. And even last year in 24, like I said, Coach Tamsula just made sure whatever happened the year before that is not relevant,
Hmm.
because the 23 team is not the 24 team, and the 25 team is not the 24 team. So it's like,
Okay.
basically, we gotta prove
Hmm.
once again that we can do it.
Right.
It's like, you come to the Rhein Fire, you're expected to produce, you're expected to perform, but there is no, in 2024 they did it, so they're gonna do it again. No,
Hmm.
like, we're in 2025. This is a 2025 team, and this team hasn't done anything. We're heading into week one. We're 0-0,
Hmm.
and we tell the guys a lot. And once again, like, I'll give you an example with Omari, because he's kind of great at reminding of that. Is that I think we had like a team event or whatever, and I was wearing a championship T-shirt,
Hmm.
and then he told me, you can't wear that anymore. And I'm like, why? He said, we're in 2025. And I'm like, okay.
Okay. That's
That
dog
makes
right
sense.
there.
Yeah. Like,
That's dog right
you,
there.
you you get the idea, right? It's
Yeah.
2025. We have a new team. We're not champions. Everybody is 0-0 right now, and that's just how it is.
So then what would you say to people who might discredit this 2025 roster, this new team, because of the loss of individuals like Tunga and Clark? There has kind of been this idea of maybe Ryan has taken a step back, what would you say to the people who might think that?
I mean, I have to start by just giving Glenn and Adrian their flowers, right? They're both MVPs of the league, great players, obviously. So
Mhm.
it hurts to lose them. Um, but at the same time, I guess the only thing I'll say is we'll see, right? I
Okay.
can't I can't just sit here and be like, oh yeah, we'll be better, or
Mhm.
I can say we'll be worse. What I can say though is that we'll play Rhein Fire football and we'll show up and we'll intention is to perform, is to win and to win every game. That hasn't changed. The philosophy hasn't changed. The way we play football hasn't changed. Now the individuals they come and go, right? That's
Mhm.
just football. That's how it is. And you want to be happy for the guys too, right? They have a great season. They perform. They get a good deal somewhere else. No hard feelings, right? We're all happy for each other. Um, but if you look at it, nothing really has changed. We get Chad Jeffries, which is also a great quarterback, right?
Phenomenal quarterback. Yep.
First time practicing with him. I haven't played against him. I didn't look at any tape. All I know is that we've just been through 5 weeks of camp, and he's a great player.
Mhm.
So all I'm gonna say is we'll see. The brand hasn't changed. The name have changed, right? But the way we play football is the same, and we'll see what happens.
Perfect. Now, you have mentioned multiple times, and I agree that this team's different. Every season the team is different. But again, back to back championships, there is a target on your back. We've interviewed some other players, and in
Mhm.
every interview, whenever we ask people, hey, who are you most looking forward to playing? Y'all are always mentioned. It's always the Rhein Fire in a mix of whatever other teams they mention. So,
Mhm.
how do you personally, as well as the team as a whole, prepare for that? Especially like coming up against Paris. You're going up against your home country. Playing some guys that you probably know personally. Yeah,
Yeah.
how do y'all just prepare, knowing that everyone's going to give you their best shot in 2025?
Um, Obviously, being a former champion, right? Everybody is gonna have their best game, like you said, against you.
Hmm.
But once again, nothing changes. It's just how we practice. We practice to win, whether we were the former champion or not. We just we are. This is just the Rhein Fire way, in a sense. That's what Coach Tamsula preaches. It doesn't matter if we're 1-12 or 12-0. We're gonna practice with the same intensity, the same focus to get to the same outcome. There is no, oh, I'm just gonna throw it out there, right? But it's don't take it personally, right? Imagine we play the Enthroners,
Hmm.
right? Our week of practice is gonna look exactly the same. The expectations are gonna be exactly the same as if we play the Stuttgart Surge. It
Hmm.
does not matter who we play.
Right.
It doesn't matter what our record is. It doesn't matter if we're former champions or not. We have a standard, and we need to meet that standard every single week. Um,
I like it.
but like I said, obviously, right? If we're gonna get the best out of every team we play because we're the former champions and everybody want to beat this team, and rightfully so. If I
Yep.
was playing for another team, when I was in Frankfurt, I wanted to beat the Rhein Fire. Rhein
Fair.
Fire was the only team we lost to, and I wanted to beat them really bad, right?
Hmm.
It's normal. So
Yeah, no, that's fair.
yeah.
So for you personally, do you have any goals set for yourself for this season, whether if it's statistical, leadership based, or just growth as a player?
I want to win the championship. Obviously, that's the most important thing to me,
Sure.
right?
Right.
So winning the championship would be one, and then as always, also just get better in general.
Mhm.
When I look at my seasons, I had a good year in Tyrol. I think I had a better year in Frankfurt, and then I topped that last year with Rhein
Yeah.
Fire, and I want to get an even better year this year. So always looking to improve overall. Doesn't really need to be statistically or whatever. I just want to feel like, okay, I had a better season than last season. I'm a better player this season than I was last season.
Hmm. Fair enough.
So yeah.
Uh, so coming to the end of our long questions before we dip into the rapid fire ones, but
Mhm.
which wide receivers are you most excited to match up against this season?
Um, I think just Vienna's wide receiver room is really stacked. So
Hmm.
I'm
Fair.
looking forward to playing them for sure. Um, I mean, I go against Rory. every practice, which is
Mhm.
also kind of crazy. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the matchups and everything. It was a bit the same last year. I mean, some guys asked me the question. I'm like, well, I have to deal with KJ McKnight at every practice.
Fair. Yeah.
Then come the game, it's like, I've been prepared. So
Mhm.
whether it's Worry, KJ, like I said, the Vikings have a really really stacked receiver room. So I'm looking forward to that game. And I believe that there is this guy in Tyrol. He's really good. I can't remember his name. What's their A receiver this year in Tyrol?
I can look that up for you real quick.
Yeah.
Five Raiders roll. While I'm looking that up, I will ask you this. So first game of the season, you're
Mhm.
playing against Paris. I'm not entirely sure how far away you grew up from Paris as a kid, but is there any type of like in emotions that you're feeling just getting to play against a French team, you as a Frenchman?
For sure, for sure. I mean, Paris is always my favorite game of the year, just because I get to play in front of my whole family. They don't
Fair.
need to travel, right? I can see my uncle, nephew, cousins, everybody. Grandparents also come to the game, so that's for sure my favorite game, right? Just
Mhm.
play in front of all my family. That's always very special. Getting to sing the national anthem also is just something about it, that brings the emotions and everything. And obviously, some of the guys from the Musketeers. I don't know the whole team, but Kevin Mwamba, Anthony Maungu. I have a lot of guys that I really respect over there. Some of them I consider my friends, my close friends as well.
Mhm.
So it's always a special one for sure.
Fair enough. And I just looked it up. It's Ja'Cory Sullivan.
Sullivan, there you go. He's a really really good receiver, and I'm really looking forward to play him.
Fair enough. Well, cool. So I have some rapid fire questions. This is just
Mhm.
first thing that comes to mind, spit it out.
All right,
If you could describe the identity of the 2025 Rhine defense in one word, what would it be?
we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. What is your pregame hype song?
One of one from Ghana.
Okay.
Can
What
go
about
with
preferred pregame meal?
brunch type, sweet and salty.
Okay, fair enough. Favorite food just overall?
Bolognese for sure.
Okay. What position would you play if it wasn't defensive back?
Receiver,
Receiver?
receiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so who is your favorite all-time defensive back then?
Ed Reed, no question.
Okay, that's a solid one. Who's your favorite current defensive back?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Okay.
Yeah.
Receiver in the ELF who talks the most?
Oof. I have to go with. I think his name is Weddington. Cologne imports from last year.
Okay. Uh, who is the hardest quarterback to play against?
Oof. Sullivan or Weeds? I
Really?
mean, maybe Henderson. Even I think his name is Irons at the Panthers. Any
Hmm,
guy who's an athlete and who can threaten you with his legs and his arm is really really hard to play. So I have a lot of respect for those guys.
perfect. Let's see. Most underrated player in the ELF.
I gotta go with Flamore.
Okay. Word. One teammate you'd want with you in a 2-on-2 basketball tournament.
Omar Williams, easy.
Oh, does he hoop like that?
He's like that, and I'm terrible.
Okay.
So
Wait, you're bad dude, you're like 6'4" and you're French. Y'all are like known for having good basketball players.
that's true, but I grew up playing soccer, so I really never
Fair
played
enough.
basketball. I think I could just defend, I guess, go get a
Mhm.
rebound, whatever,
Yeah.
effort type of player, but no skill at all. Can't shoot, can't dribble, none of that.
I understand. I played rugby in high school, and so me and basketball, I don't have the coordination for that.
Nah,
I get
good
it.
stuff. Good stuff.
Uh, Who is your one player from the NFL that you would like to join Ryan's roster? And you don't have to worry about A import, E import, any of that stuff. Just drag and drop.
Patrick Mahomes.
Fair enough. All right. All right.
Actually,
Last few here.
Actually, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, spicy. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite non-French city in Europe?
Ooh, I have to go with Ringsburg, small city next to Munich. Beautiful.
Okay. Okay. And then favorite city in France?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with Versailles.
Versailles.
That's where I'm. Yeah.
I dig. I dig. Well, cool. That is all the questions that I have for you, my friend. Before I let you go, go ahead, plug your social media so people know where they can find you.
Yeah, mainly just on Instagram. P Tony Manderson is the @ so yeah, you can find me there. Other than that, really not much going on. Just focus on the season, taking it week by week. All eyes are on Paris Saturday, so May 17th, I believe, 6 p.m. Tune in. The Zone, I think, is the place to watch the game this year. So make sure you get your membership, subscription, whatever. Not sure if the French have a special deal with a national network over there. Not quite sure, but I think the Zone is the play here.
Yep. Yeah. They'll have it. They have all the games broadcasting. Danny and I are going to go split a subscription. So then that way we can make sure that we have all of them readily available. So
there's no Game Pass anymore, right? It's just
right.
just a new one?
Yeah. It's just, yeah. So is it called DAZN? We always just called it DAZN because that's what the little is.
That's what the Germans say, the Zone.
Okay. So, well, you know what? I will trust them. So, well, perfect. Appreciate it, Tony. Thank you so much for spending time with me and doing this interview. It's going to be super cool just to see this Rhein defense in action this upcoming season. Y'all were just absolutely nasty last year. I'm hoping that tenacity carries over to this season. It'll be exciting to get to see you play against Paris upcoming Saturday. But yeah, with that, thanks everybody who has listened. This has been Jordan Pryor with the Fourth Down Fiasco and Tony Anderson with the Rhein Fire saying so long, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me.